The third brain is the cortex. And the cortex is mainly intellectual. It's supposed to be rational, logical, thinking. And this part of the brain is not really in place before we are 7. I did a lot of work with the Piaget team in Geneva. And Piaget spent a lot of time trying to discover the stages of growth, of different stages for the child to acquire all the mental tools that he has. And one of the findings of the Piaget team and Piaget himself was that we don't have the full mental tools of the cortex in place before we are 7, of course around 7 as usual. What is happening? Before 7, children don't have what we call the conservation of quantity. You take 2 balls of clay and you ask the child, is it the same quantity of clay? Is it the same? So the child will tell you, yeah, this is the same quantity of clay in these 2 balls of clay. All right. Then you take one and out of this clay you make a snake. And now you say to the child, there is a clay. Now where do you have these 2? One is a ball, one is a snake. Where do you see more clay? Where there is more quantity? And the child, before 7, he would say, oh, now there is more here because it's a long snake. Or there is more here because it's round, whatever. But the child doesn't see that the shape of the clay doesn't change the quantity. He doesn't have the mental tools to accept the conservation of quantity. If you ask the same questions after 7, the child will look at you and say, why are you asking? You think I'm dumb or what? I mean, this is it. He has the mental tools. So this is very crucial to understand that everything that has been imprinted at a very early age is before the intellectual, before the intellect dimension, and is a lot more powerful. And that's why, again, the message is the reptilian always win. What is the cortex about? The cortex is about, let's make things cold, let's cool down, let's try to understand, which, by the way, means maybe understand, which is another interesting expression here. And let's try to understand, let's try to get the positive and the negative and make a choice, a rational choice. It takes some time, is delay. The cortex always delay things. And then the cortex deal with numbers. The cortex is into control, numbers, verification, order. And so, which is not very natural. Actually, it's a very artificial way to try to slow down the process. Each time you speak about number, think about reward and recognition. If you give numbers, I'm going to give you 10%. Well, this is interesting because you are interested in money, like everybody, to pay your bills. But if you have a reptilian reward, we know it's going to be more powerful than a cortex one. Or even if you have a limbic, it's going to be more powerful than cortex. So that's why we know that in the reward and recognition system, money is important, but it's the weakest way to reward people because it's cortex. So if we try to understand now the connection between the 3 brains, the reptilian is very quick. A notion of time, the reptilian is quick, is instinct, reflex. All right. The limbic is energy, a lot of energy, emotion. And we know that there is no imprint in the brain without emotion. Emotion is the energy that produces the neurotransmitters in the brain needed to create the connection. What about the cortex? Well, the cortex is control. The cortex is going to slow down the reptilian. Don't be aggressive. Don't be too strong on that. Just calm down, relax. The notion of delay, the notion of time, take the time, think, think several times before you say something, because like this you're not going to make a mistake. And so this is the notion of the cortex, the control. Going to school, children learn to use their cortex. I mean, you're never supposed to be too loud, you're never supposed to move too much, you're never supposed to yell, to cry. I mean, this is the cortex trying to control. Education, in many ways, is an education of the cortex, trying to force the cortex to take over the limbic and the reptilian. And the result is that we have very cold people sometimes, that are out of touch with their emotions and out of touch with the reptilian dimension of survival that they had when they were children.